Hey guys, Crow of Murder 15 here, and welcome to a new episode of First Impressions, the show where I play a new game for about 15 minutes to a couple hours and give my first impressions on it. Yeah, hard to believe that I haven't done one of these in about 2 years, but hey, better late than never. Before we get started with today's episode, I wanted to go over something real quick. The format of this show is going to be very similar to how I'm going to be doing review videos as well. So while the time of playing the game will still remain to 15 minutes to a couple hours, I'm going to be going over some more research stuff outside of playing the game and get as much spoiler-free info as I can. So we're going to give this a shot, hopefully it works. So without further ado, today's episode we're going to be taking a look at Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 for the Nintendo Switch. Now, I feel like a lot of people were really hyped for this game because Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 were really good games. And though I haven't played a lot of them myself, I've still seen a lot of gameplay of it, played a little bit of it, and really enjoyed it. So when this was first announced, and the fact that it was going to be on Nintendo Switch exclusively was really awesome, considering that I'm not going to lie, I love my Switch. I'm not exactly the biggest Nintendo fanboy, but where Nintendo was my very first system, it kind of holds a bit of nostalgia for me. So let's go ahead and get on with the review. So, the story for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 goes as follows. Very similar to the events of Infinity War, Thanos is after the Infinity Stones. They were first collected by Nebula and Ronan, and happened to be stumbled upon by the Guardians of the Galaxy, thinking that they're up to no good. So, with some quick thinking, Peter Quill gets one of the Infinity Stones and warps them to Earth, scattering all the Infinity Stones around the planet. So now it's up to the Guardians of the Galaxy, S.H.I.E.L.D., the Avengers, the Defenders, all of the Marvel superheroes to get all of the Infinity Stones before Thanos can come and rain chaos across the planet. It's a pretty basic storyline, not exactly following what happens in the Infinity War movies or comics for that matter, but we've seen this story told a bunch of times, but I'm actually kind of curious of how they're going to be telling it this time. The gameplay of Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 is a lot like Diablo/Gauntlet Legends as far as the control style. You've got light attacks, heavy attacks, guarding, dodging, and up to 4 superpowers for each of your heroes. You get your first ability at level 1, but once you reach level 10, 15, and 20, you unlock the rest. Each of these powers can be leveled up with ability points/orbs, and this can be done at any time during gameplay. So if you need a little boost and have the necessary points and orbs, you can pause the game, go to your ability that you want to level up, and bam! Your flamethrower is now a super flamethrower, so to speak. Now, the other type of leveling is for actual levels, giving abilities with the Hex Grid. Credits and enhancement points are needed to level these up. These actually affect all of your characters, increasing strength, durability, mastery, resilience, vitality, and energy. However, this can only be leveled up at shield points. Also, there's another thing called ISO 8 that I haven't come across in the game, but from researching, it looks like there are equipable items to boost stats for your characters. During gameplay, you control up to 4 characters, and you can switch between any of them with your directional pad. There's also team bonuses for getting certain characters on the same team, such as the X-Men, Guardians of the Galaxy, or the Avengers. But there's certain teams so you can mix and match and experiment to see which gives you the best boosts. There's also team combo attacks with their special abilities. And whenever you get your gauge full, this gauge right here, this little orange one, you can use an extreme attack, which gets a huge power boost and an ultimate attack for your characters. But if you press it again, you could do an Alliance extreme attack, which gets your whole group to do all of their ultimate attacks at once for extreme damage. So one of the big things I really like about this game is the number of characters that you can select from. In past Marvel games, it seems that they only focused on the Marvel Cinematic Universe characters, so seeing characters that are from the Defenders team, bringing back old X-Men characters, and the announcement there's going to be some Fantastic Four DLC coming in the future really gets me excited, because some of these characters we have not seen in a video game in a long time. And actually, speaking of characters, the amount of characters that you're able to pick from right after the very first level is kind of astonishing, considering that you're only able to play as the Guardians of the Galaxy right out the bat. After you finish that first level, you're able to play as most of the Avengers, Captain Marvel, Spider-Man, Scarlet Witch, Wolverine, and Crystal from the Inhumans, all kinds of different characters, so it gives you a lot of variation right out the gate. The combat is very fluid, and being able to see all these team combinations and such is really exciting as well. Being able to see Star-Lord using one of his whirlwind attacks, and Wolverine being able to use his adamantium rush to get all kinds of wind blades out there attacking enemies. So it's fun to experiment with all these different superpowers to see what combinations work and which ones don't. Speaking of the combat, it's really easy to use and very fluid, very nice, really easy to understand. Just pick up and play. That's the best way I like to look at it. Now, I know a lot of people's gripe about the graphics in this game is kind of makes it look like a mobile game, and I can see that, but I feel like with the way that this game was supposed to be, it's supposed to look like more of a comic book-like art style, so I gotta give them props for that. I honestly like it. Also, each character has one unlockable alternate costume that you can unlock by going to the Infinity Trials. Now, I am a big sucker when it comes to unlockable content, so you know I'm probably going to be unlocking all of these. And I'm really excited to see what these alternate costumes are going to look like. And one of the best things about this game is that it is co-op in 3 different ways. You can do local, which just has you do extra controllers on one Nintendo Switch. You can do online with your friends. And there is also local, which means that if somebody has another Switch, they can play on their Switch, and you can play on your Switch. And it's just awesome. I love co-op games, and I'm so glad to see something like this back. Now for the cons of this game, and these are more nitpicks than actual cons in my personal opinion. This is just what I don't like personally. There are certain enemies in the game, and I'm not talking about bosses, I'm talking about just regular enemies that have a stun gauge. These are the bigger enemies, and they are represented with these little purple bars, which is called the stun gauge. I don't know why, I just hate fighting these things. It feels like your attacks don't do jack shit to this thing. It's really annoying, and it seems like this goes into my next point. It feels like those bigger enemies really hit hard. Like, they hit you maybe 3 or 4 times, and it's like your health bar is depleted down to 1/4 already. So I don't know if this is just starting out of the game where I haven't leveled up my characters a lot recently, considering my characters are only level 10 right now. It feels like with the stronger enemies and even some bosses, it only takes them like 4 or 5 hits before your character is down and out. Now, granted, you do have 3 revives for each character. Well, not each character, but you have 3 revives to spread out between your whole team. But it feels like it's a bit cheap in my opinion. And I wish there was a little more selection when it came to the bad guys of this game. In the earlier, especially Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, you could actually pick from bad guys. And I understand that they were trying to go for this, they were going with the Civil War storyline for that game. But I don't know. Granted, there are a few bad guys that you can technically play as. I mean, Venom is technically anti-hero. You've got Magneto that's technically anti-hero. But it would be really nice to see some villains in this game that you can play as. I mean, me personally, I would love to play as the Green Goblin, just running around on the hoverboard, throwing bombs. I don't know, maybe it'll be future DLC down the road, but, you know. And don't get me wrong, I love hero characters, but I like to mix it up a little bit with some villains as well that are playable. So, my final verdict for this game, I'm not gonna lie guys, this is awesome. I have been hyped for this game ever since it was announced, and it certainly delivers. Stan Lee would be proud of this game. I'm not even kidding. With that being said, guys, check it out yourself. It is now available on Nintendo Switch at $60. Yeah, it's a little pricey. Plus, there is an expansion pack for future DLC that you can check out that's going to be introducing Inhumans, X-Men, Fantastic Four characters. It's going to be awesome. So, check it out yourself. And with that being said, guys, this is CrowMurder15 signing off.